All right, guys, we're back on the Duramax project. It has been a while, and with how the shop has been running, as you'll see in the videos that are coming, or before this, if you haven't, go check them out. But we need to get this truck and the motor ready to pull, so that way I can start doing the motor work, and also to get this frame out of the shop while we're trying to get that truck out, which by the time you see this, we'll be on to other projects that's coming up after this one. While I'm waiting for paint to dry in the paint booth, I'm gonna pull some stuff off the motor, try to give it some weight loss, so that way we can put it on a motor stand, and so that way I can turn it and put all the performance stuff in it that we plan on doing with this build. But now I'm just going to take the front end, some pieces off of it, some different wheels and stuff. I have some plans going on, working with a different company, trying to make this one-off, obviously, because we're doing everything with it. I mean, it's gonna be one hell of a build.
90% of the time I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
All right, guys, got the water pump pulley off. AC compressor was already off, but that bracket with the power steering is off. The alternator bracket and alternator disconnected with those bolts pulled off. The pulleys and the tensioner, we got all that off. I was trying to get this wheel off, but I need to get a smaller pulley to be able to pull that off. Now I need to get just all this wiring stuff. I need to get it labeled and get it off this truck, so that way we can just get straight to the motor. These LMLs, they got wires everywhere, so I got to pull all that off. Alright, so y'all probably wondering why I was fighting over here or spending so much time over here, is I was trying to get this exhaust hanger off, which GM decided to put a bolt right here where you can't really get to it. So I was trying to get that out, and not only that, it's pretty long for what it's holding, and you got one right here. They're both 13s, but this is what I was trying to get to. As you can see, it has transmission fluid on the plug and inside the plug. This is what I was talking about before, where it was leaking transmission fluid. As you can see, it is all over the ground, and a lot of it's brake fluid, but most of all of that down there is transmission fluid, and that's where it's leaking out of. They say that 11 through 13 models had this problem. I guess I had the truck that has the problem. So while we go ahead and whenever I pull the transmission I'm gonna go ahead and replace that since we'll be inside, and I'm thinking we might do a clutch kit with well, we'll get to that later. We don't know exactly everything that's going down with it, but we know we are doing some performance mods to the truck, so the transmission is gonna have to back that up. But that's what I was fighting with, and let's see if we can go ahead and get the rest of it off. Well, we got one wiring harness off that run all the way back to the transmission. It also had the starter. It had a bunch of grounds for the motor. One right here, and then one right here. You can see. And it run all the way across. It also had the old DPF system that run down the frame right here. It ends up being really long. This is the start. This is where the transmission is, which branches off. And it comes all the way up. Fuse box, sorry. Runs all the way across. And then this goes to the battery ground. So most of this was a lot of ground going on, and the starter. And this also had both wires, I believe, that went to the frame rail. Yeah, the two wires that I was telling you about before when we pulled the cab, here was a ground and there was a ground. Those both come off with this harness. So this harness right here is mainly a ground harness, and also the transmission power to tell the computer what the transmission's doing. Alright guys, we jumped right into it. We swept and got all that stuff off. We got this is the main engine harness right here. It's not as big, but it's got 1,000 plugs on it. Pretty much got everything off. Now the only thing we got to do is tackle all these fuel lines. The biggest problem with not taking the fuel lines off and disconnecting or getting the bridge out, the Y bridge, is there's a plug way under the CP4 right here. I couldn't even tell you where it was at on this damn thing, but what I did was just stick a screwdriver in right through this hole, unclipped it, and then pushed it out. If I wasn't gonna be able to do that, I wouldn't have been able to get this harness off, so I just did that anyways. I've done head jobs, but I've never done one on an LML because not a lot of people do them on these trucks. In fact, a lot of people around where I'm at aren't building or hot rodding a LML truck. They're normally doing like a LBZ or a LB7. The older Duramaxes, because they already got a bunch of stuff that this truck doesn't. And these trucks just cost a load of money to just do a delete on, if you can get a delete anymore. But since it is out and we are going to pull it, I figured we might as well go all out. And I figured y'all would like to watch and see this truck be built like this. So I am gonna have to order ARP studs and new gaskets, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there. But for now, I think I am gonna start pulling some fuel lines off and figuring exactly where everything goes. Alright guys, I went to the back, got both up pipes out, down pipe out, and the turbo is completely out. So that will take some weight off of the motor. As you can see, we have stuff everywhere. But the bolts that was holding these on, which this is an aftermarket one, we installed this whenever I did the EGR delete completely, and so that is off of like an LB7 truck. So we got all those out. And them bolts, I'm gonna order all new bolts because they were first off, they're always hard to get off no matter what truck. But I'm gonna order new bolts for that. And but if you're looking at this ugly bolt, this is a block off for the coolant, but we got new block off plates from Fleece coming, and we're gonna block this off, go ahead and replace this because they say they leak after a while. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that with Fleece's block off plates that they make. We got a bunch of stuff from Fleece coming, but everything's going pretty good. So I don't know exactly, which I didn't start on the fuel lines yet, but we're getting there. Little by little we're getting there. So I do know I get a bunch of my Duramax parts from D-Max store. I'm actually getting a whole bunch of stuff from them here soon for the truck. But their gasket kit literally comes with pretty much every gasket that you need to reseal it, including the little copper, I call them like crush washers. With these new lines, they come with all that stuff. So we'll be replacing all that as we go. But if you've ever worked on one of these trucks, to get to this Y bridge bottom bolts right here, they are aggravating and very hard to get to. But now that we've gotten the turbo out, this should be pretty easy. Very little room to work with in this shop right now, with it being fully out. When this truck is being pulled out, we are pulling this bed outside. It doesn't need to be in the shop. It's taking up space. One of the reasons why I'm going ahead and tackling this motor and getting it off, so that way we can roll this frame out of here. Everything is taking up too much space, and we got people left and right messaging me for jobs, and I appreciate all of y'all for doing that, keeping me busy. It helps with future content anyways. But that's where we're at for today. We'll catch you when I start back on it later.